Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න. Work and learn. Meet Light Meet Max සක්‍රිය කර ගැනීමට MySLT app එකට log වෙන්න.
අර පිරිමැස්ම ගැන හිතන ඔබට Vim Liquid වෙතින් රුපියල් 100ක ඉතිරියක්.
හරිම සුළුයි.
Tonight on First at 9 this Monday, the 2nd of January 2023. We are done. President Ranil Wickremesinghe calls on all state sector employees together as part of one mechanism to restore normalcy by 2023 ends. Intermediaries. IMF chief says that they are pushing for debt resolution for countries like Sri Lanka.
We have engaged the traditional creditors, the Paris Club, China, India, Saudi Arabia. Our call is very simple, urgency.
Cancelled. 18 train journeys cancelled today due to the lack of staff.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9 with Suzanne Shenali. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, and you're joining us on First at 9, and we're starting off with President Ranil Wickremesinghe calling on all state sector officials to look at the government and the country as one machine, while the ministries act as subparts to rebuild Sri Lanka's collapsed economy to be on par with the rest of the world. As such, the head of state urged all state sector officials to work together sans any competition and tug of war to restore normalcy by the end of 2023 and helping the country relieve itself from the debt burden.
The commencement of work for the year 2023 by the state sector took place today under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat. The ceremony commenced after the state sector officials took oath for the year 2023. Following this, President Ranil Wickremesinghe addressed the officials of the state sector.
මාස පහමාරකට පෙර මේ කාර්යාලයේ ඉඳන් අපි ඓතිහාසික වැඩ කොටසක් බාරගත්තා. ආණ්ඩු පාලනය කඩාවැටෙන අවස්ථාවේදී ආර්ථිකය කඩාවැටෙන අවස්ථාවේදී ඒ මාස පහමාර තුලදී සාමාන්‍ය තත්ත්වයක් ඇති කරන්නට අපි පියවර ගත්තා. තද ඉන්ධන සඳහාත් ආහාර සඳහාත් පෝර සඳහාත් උවමනා ප්‍රමාණය අපිට ලබා දෙන්නට අවස්ථාවක් ඇති වෙලා තිබෙනවා. ඒත් අපේ වැඩකම සටහන මෙතනින් අවසන් වෙලා නැහැ. 2023 වර්ෂයේ තමයි වැදගත්ම වර්ෂය වෙන්නේ. අපේ ණය උගුලෙන් බේරිලා ණය ප්‍රතිව්‍යුහගත කරලා අපි ඉදිරියට යන්න තියෙනවා. අපේ මේ ආර්ථික කඩාවැටීම නිසා අපිට අලුතෙන් අපි ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ලෝකෙක තරඟ කරන්න පුළුවන් ආර්ථිකයක් ඇති කරන්න තියෙනවා. මේ රටේ දේශපාලන ක්‍රමවේදයේ වෙනසක් වුමනයි කියලා ඒ වගේම බහුතරයක මතේ තියෙනවා. මේ දෙකම අපි ඔප්පු කරන්න තිබෙනවා. අපි මේ ආණ්ඩුව දිහා බලන්නේ එක යන්ත්‍රණයක් හැටියට. මේවා අමාත්‍යාංශය අනුව යන්ත්‍රණ ගණනාවකට බෙදිලා නැහැ. එක යන්ත්‍රණයක තියෙන අමතර කොටස්. ඒ නිසා ඒ කොටස් අතර විශේෂයෙන්ම තරඟකාරීත්වයක් ඇති වෙන්න බෑ. කම්බැදිල්ලක් ඇති වෙන්න බෑ. තමන්ගේ වගකීම සීමා කරගන්න බෑ. රටේ මූලික ප්‍රතිපත්ති මාලාව ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නට හැම එක්කෙනාම බැඳලා තියෙනවා. මේකේ කේන්ද්‍ර ස්ථානයේ වෙන්නේ අද මෙතන තියෙන මේ ජනාධිපති කාර්යාලයත්, ඒ වගේම කැබිනට් කාර්යාලයත්, ඒ වගේම අගමැති කාර්යාලය. මෙතනින් තමයි අපි ඉදිරියට යන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මම එක කාරණයක් කියන්න කැමතියි. තමන්ගේ වැඩ කටයුතු දවසේ පැය 8කට සීමා වෙන්නේ නැහැ. තමන්ගේ වැඩ කටයුතු සතියේ දවස් 5කට සීමා වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේ ස්ථානයේ ඉන්න හැම එක්කෙනාම අපි කැප වෙලා වැඩ කරමු. 2023 අවසන් වෙනකොට මේ රටේ සාමාන්‍ය තත්ත්වයක් ඇති කරමු කියලා බලාපොරොත්තුෙන් මම ඔබ සියලු දෙනාගේම සහයෝගය ඇතුව මේ රට ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Former British Prime Minister David Cameron called on President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat today. During the visit, the former British Premier extended his best wishes to President Wickremesinghe for the new year. President's senior advisor on national security and President's Chief of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka, President's Secretary Samaneka Naika and Director of International Affairs for the President were also present at this discussion. Following this discussion, former British Prime Minister David Cameron paid a visit to the Colombo port, where he was given a tour of the area and the investment plans. Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, said today that the global lender is working hard to push for debt resolution for countries like Sri Lanka. She added that they have engaged with traditional creditors such as the Paris Club members and the non-Paris Club members such as China, India and Saudi Arabia to act with urgency towards providing debt resolution to countries in need of it.
According to the IMF, 60% of low-income countries are in distress because of this debt. Do you see governments collapsing with defaults? Does that bleed into the global financial system?
So far, the countries that are in that distress are not systemically significant to trigger a debt crisis. Let's just look at the map. Which are these countries? Chad, Ethiopia, Zambia, Ghana, Lebanon, Suriname, Sri Lanka. Very important for their people that we find a resolution to the debt problem, but the risk of contagion is not as high. However, if that list continues to grow, and let's remember 25% of emerging markets are trading in distressed territory, then the world economy may be for a bad surprise. And this is why at the IMF we are working very hard to press for debt resolution for these countries. And we have engaged the traditional creditors, the Paris Club, the non-traditional creditors, China, India, Saudi Arabia. Our call is very simple: urgency. We have to act. When I look at the debt map of the world, yes, we have to be concerned. During COVID, what did we do? Everywhere, governments borrowed, rightly so, to help their people. Money was cheap and we prevented a collapse of the world economy. That was the right thing to do. But once Russia invaded Ukraine and that added impetus to inflation, money is not cheap anymore. What is the advice we give to governments? Focus on your budgets. Make sure that you have sufficient revenues to collect and that you spend very wisely.
Defense Secretary retired General Kamal Gunaratna highlighted that the menace narcotics caused in the country has been creatively curbed due to preventive measures taken by the tri-forces and the police. He went on to say that the activists of extremist elements, underworld gangs and operations have also been successfully brought down to a great extent.
Defense Secretary General Kamal Gunaratna said today that the effective measures taken by the Ministry of Defense and the affiliated agencies in collaboration with the Sri Lanka police against drug trafficking has dealt a heavy blow on drug smuggling operations in the country. General Gunaratna expressed these remarks during a ceremony organized to usher in the dawn of 2023 and the official commencement of work in the new year at the ministry premises today. Addressing the staff of the Ministry of Defense, he went on to say that such measures have had a huge impact on the society. He further expressed gratitude to the armed forces and police for their role in maintaining public safety and continuity of essential services during the recent social unrest. General Gunaratna said that they provided necessary support to prevent the country from becoming politically unstable and anarchic. He further went on to say that operations of extremist groups, underworld gangs and such related activities have been successfully curbed in order to create a free and peaceful Sri Lanka, along with the intervention of the Ministry of Defense and the Sri Lanka police. The Defense Secretary went on to say that in order to stabilize the economic and social crisis that the country is facing with the aim of making the national development policy of the government a reality, they must make this year more productive than the previous years and properly discharge any responsibilities as public servants. During the proceedings, silence was also observed as a mark of respect to all soldiers who had sacrificed their lives during the 10-year war.
General Manager of the Railways Department, Gamini Seneviratne, says that there has not been a severe impact on the trains due to the retirement of employees. Railway Department stated that 18 train journeys were cancelled today due to lack of employees.
At least 11 scheduled trains were cancelled this morning owing to issues arising over the Sri Lanka Railway employee retirements. The Railway Station Masters Union had warned that more than 60 train journeys may have to be cancelled as a result of the vacancies created by the retirement of nearly 500 individuals from the entire railway staff since the 31st of December. Speaking to reporters yesterday, the president of the RSMU, Sumedha Somaratna, said that 44 trains were scheduled to be cancelled on the 31st of December and that already multiple trains were cancelled, with the figure expected to rise by today. If that happens, the running trains will not be able to carry the total capacity of commuters. The Railway Station Masters Union also pointed out that the provision of services by the retired employees on contract basis as required has not been accomplished so far. Somaratha further stated that even though new station masters were recruited to overcome the shortage of station masters, the appointments have not been approved since 2013, and as a result, the Matra and Beliatta railway stations have to be closed in the coming period. Station masters warn that if a proper solution will not be provided for this issue this week, they will definitely launch a strike by the 9th of January against these collapses that have arisen with the Railways Department. It has been reported that 36 journeys, including 24 passenger trains and 12 cargo trains, have been cancelled yesterday. 59 journeys, including 48 passenger trains and 11 cargo trains, were also cancelled on the 31st of December.
Stay with us to find out the latest developments that are expected to be put forward for the benefit of importers and exporters right after this break.
It's hard to keep up with the new when you're listening to the same old Slim Bread Week. A week for professionals.
Welcome back. The KS Environmental Institute, located in Melbourne, Australia, and AdaDerana recently started a program to provide smart classrooms to rural schools. Under the program, steps were also taken to refurnish the classrooms.
The program of providing smart classrooms for 6 schools in Sri Lanka commenced recently under the leadership of Managing Director of KS Environmental Group, Paul Smith, and Chief Financial Officer, Susantha Aparakka, in partnership with AdaDerana. Under its first phase, 2 smart classrooms were presented to 2 schools in the northern province. Steps had also been taken to refurbish some classrooms that needed repairs. The schools that received this was the AdaDerana School in Valioya and the Kiribamvawa School in Valioya.
Today we are happy because open the smart classroom in our school. We thank for AdaDerana and KS Environmental Institute in Australia. Our all students will study well happily from this smart classroom. Thank you, AdaDerana.
Today is a very special day for all of us. AdaDerana and the KS Environmental in Melbourne, Australia have fulfilled one of our dreams. We can learn with the smart classroom because of this great donation. AdaDerana and the KS Environmental in Melbourne, Australia. We respect you with gratitude.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Sibalapati announced today that a new set of his codes will be introduced for a new list of items put forward by the World Trade Organization. The minister further stated that this will be brought about in order to benefit importers and exporters by providing transparency regarding the goods that they will be importing and exporting.
State Minister of Finance Ranjit Sibalapati says that a gazette notification will be issued in order to introduce new HS codes for 142 items in the imports and exports sector. He said the customs codes will be introduced for 142 types of goods with the aim of facilitating and streamlining import and export. Taking to Twitter, the State Minister mentioned that the gazette notification will come into effect from the 1st of January 2023.
වර්ෂ 5කට සැරයක් ලෝක වෙළඳ සංවිධානය අලුතෙන් ලෝකයට ඉදිරිපත් වුණු භාණ්ඩ පිළිබඳ ලැයිස්තුවක් හැම රටකටම දෙනවා අලුත් රේගු සංකේතාංක හඳුන්වා දීම සඳහා. දැන් අපිටත් ඒ වගේ වර්ෂ 5කට සැරයක් දෙනවා. ඒ නිසා ආනයන සහ අපනයනකරුවන්ට විනිවිදභාවයෙන් යුතු පහසුකමක් සැලසෙනවා. තමන් ගෙන්නන හෝ තමන් පිටට යවන දේ පිළිබඳ පැහැදිලි අදහසක් ඔහුට තියෙනවා. එහි බද්ධ කීයද කියලා ඔහු දන්නවා. ඒ වගේම විනිවිදභාවය ආරක්ෂා වෙනවා.
The Ceylon Petroleum Statutory Corporation has decided to lower the price of Ceylon white diesel and Ceylon kerosene with effect from midnight today. Accordingly, the price of a litre of Ceylon of diesel will be reduced by 15 rupees, making the new price of that litre 405 rupees. Also, the price of a litre of Ceylon kerosene will be reduced by 10 rupees. Accordingly, the new price per litre is 355 rupees. The first day of trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended in the green as all share price index closed in green as a result of price gains in counters such as Expo Lanka Holdings, SoftLogic Capital and Aitken Spence, with the turnover crossing 1.8 billion rupees. The ASPI ended 8,509.60 points, higher at 19.94 points. A similar behavior was witnessed in the S&P SL20 after it gained 4.91 to close at 2,640.55. High net worth and institutional investor participation was noted in Agstar. Mixed interest was observed in SoftLogic Life Insurance, John Keel's Holding and Lanka IOC, whilst retail interest was noted in SoftLogic Capital, Brown's Investment and LOLC Finance. Expo Lanka pushed the index up to close at 1.4% higher at 184.8 rupees. Foreign participation in the market activity remained at subdued levels with foreigners closing at net sellers. The market saw a net foreign inflow of 67 million rupees, while the total net foreign inflow of 2022 was 31 billion rupees. Now let's take a look at how the rupee has fared against the major currencies in the world. Stock markets edged higher. European bond yields dropped and the dollar remained firm in light trading today amid warnings from the International Monetary Fund's managing director that a third of the world will fall into recession in 2023.
Wall Street's three main indexes booked their first yearly drop since 2018 as an era of loose monetary policy ended with the Federal Reserve's fastest pace of rate hikes since the 1980s. The benchmark S&P 500 has shed 19.4% this year, marking a roughly $8 trillion decline in market cap. The tech-heavy Nasdaq is down 33.1%, while Dow Jones Industrial Average has fallen 8.9%. The annual average declines of all three indexes were the biggest since the 2008 financial crisis, largely driven by a drought in growth shares, as concerns over Fed's rapid interest rate hikes boost US Treasury yields. Growth stocks have been under pressure from rising yields for much of 2022 and have underperformed their economically linked value peers, revising a trend that has lasted for much of the past decade. Apple Incorporated, Alphabet Incorporated, Microsoft and Nvidia Corporation, Amazon.com Incorporated and Tesla Incorporated are among the worst drags on the S&P 500 Growth Index, down between 28% and 66% in 2022. The S&P 500 Growth Index has fallen about 30.1% this year, while the Value Index is down 7.4%, with investors preferring high dividend yielding sectors with steady earnings such as energy. Energy has recorded stellar annual gains of 59% as oil prices surged. 10 of the 11 S&P sector indexes dropped yesterday, led by real estate and utilities. The focus has shifted to the 2023 corporate earnings outlook, with growing concerns about the likelihood of a recession. Still, signs of US economic resilience have fueled worries that rates could remain higher, though easing inflationary pressures have raised hopes of dialed-down rate hikes. Monetary market participants see 65% odds of a 25 basis point hike in the Fed's February meeting, with rates expected to peak at 4.97% by mid-2023. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 73.55 points to 33,147.25, while the S&P 500 lost 9.78 points at 3,839.50. The Nasdaq Composite Index meanwhile dropped 11.61 points to 10,466.48.
And that wraps up tonight's bulletin on First at 9. We will be back again tomorrow with more updates. Coming up next is Anuradha Wickramasinghe with World News Tonight. Stay safe and have a good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.